Hunter Walk, who is a VC and invests primarily with his partner Satya, and they primarily invest their own money. And so they sort of, have a shifted view, I think, because of that around some VC-oriented topics and investment-oriented topics. Wrote a really great article this week that resonated with me and I thought was interesting that is titled, it's a long one, "The only thing which has failed about the creator economy thus far is venture capital's attempt to get their piece, why there's never been a better time to be a creator." He basically kicks it off by saying I judge the health of the creator economy by basically what is the ease of access and probability of survival for its participants. While it's harder to make $1 million as a creator because of power law dynamics and the changing of some of these networks, it is easier than ever if you're a creative person to make $50,000 or more a year on the internet doing your craft. Casey, you've spent a ton of time working on marketplaces, creator economy, etc. Do you agree with the basic premise? Do you believe that this is the best time to be a creator?
I agree with the premise. I disagree with some of his points underneath that, right? So I agree that more people can be making money in this way than ever before. COVID certainly accelerated it to which he pointed out in the post. But this hasn't seen as much of a deceleration as some other products coming out of the COVID hangover. So I agree with that point, but I take issue with some of his advice to startups, going into this space, right? So, for me, I'm on the board of a creator economy company. Eventbrite was largely a creator economy company. I've had some angel investments in creator economy company, and to Hunter Walk's point, those angel investments aren't doing so well. I'll start with some things that I like. One is he said that, hey, on the outside, from the outside, this looks like a vertical. And once you get into servicing these customers, they largely look very different. And I agree with that point entirely. I think different, creators have different things that they need. And Eventbrite felt like this when I joined, right? Eventbrite looks like a vertical company, events. And then you get into it and you're like, oh no, there's concerts, there's conferences, there's festivals, and they all kind of need something different. And if you can actually build enough product to service all those different needs, you could be quite successful, but it is a lot more work. And I think the issue I take with a lot of the creator economy startups is they're just pretty thin products, mostly to monetize, because the platforms in which all these creators build their following don't pay them any money or pay them very little money, Instagram, YouTube, TikToks of the world, right? And to me, fulfillment is not a venture business, especially for small businesses and micro businesses. You need a lot more than that to be successful. And to his point in the post, if the top end creators are going to be making more of the money, then you're going to need to do a lot more than them than just be simple fulfillment, because the bigger companies will work with the top end creators, and even if they won't, your ability to make good return from them is small, because someone else will always be willing to give them a better deal to get them to work with them, which means you're only selling to the bottom end creators, which are going to have high churn, low revenue, all that kind of stuff, also not venture scale. So I think a lot of what these creator economy businesses have issues with is they don't drive demand, which is, still what most people want. They want more business, or they do fulfillment, workflow stuff, and then they can't charge enough for it. So the main issue I have with the post is he's like, creator economy charges need to charge more. And to me, I'm like, they can't. As soon as they charge more, they lose out to incumbents. If you want to charge more, you need to create a lot more value, or people will graduate out of the system.
Well, this is the thing that jumped out to me as well. That the thing I couldn't connect the dots on, and you kind of said it, but I just want to recast it, which is most creators, they need demand, right? That's the biggest thing that they want. They want distribution,
yes.
Right? Yet at the same time, they want to own their audience. That's another thing that I think I've seen, which leads to the graduation problem. If I own my audience and I can export it anywhere, then that makes it very easy for me to like move off platforms, graduate to different platforms, which then gets to the conclusion about percentage take rate, where the conclusion about the percentage take rate is that needs to go up. But if you like reverse that, it's like, well, if I increase my percentage take rate, then I increase the graduation problem. Like I accelerate the graduation problem. So those are the things that don't necessarily equate for me. And I think I guess the piece that I'm having trouble from like the creator's perspective is like, I don't, if you're looking for a company to drive distribution for you and you want to own the audience, are those two things actually compatible?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think, different companies have different stances on this. So the social network, so like, no, it's our audience. If you want to go somewhere else where we don't give you the email addresses, we don't give you any way to bring those people over, you can, of course, do an Instagram post that tells people you're on TikTok or whatever, but like that's as much as you get. At Eventbrite, you're basically like, look, if you're bringing your audience from your own marketing, from your email list that you already have, it's your audience. You can export it and take it anywhere else, but we're also going to drive some demand for you, and we're going to increasingly charge a premium for that and all of that kind of stuff. So a lot friendlier terms than say like a social network. But if you leave, you're going to stop getting all of that incremental demand that we drive. So there's an incentive to stay on the platform because you keep getting incremental demand from us every day, right? And that's what no creator economy startup has really done yet, is found a way to scalably drive incremental demand.
A really interesting thought experiment that Hunter puts out is like, your culture of value add is driven by like how much you charge. I think I've seen this in companies like in a low gross margin business, it's all about efficiency. It's all about the grind. And in a high gross margin business, it can be more about the craft, about product quality, about like building the best thing, about really thinking about and listening to customers in a aligned way, because you have the space there. And I think the interesting point is like these companies have tried to build the business on like Stripe plus 1% or whatever it is. And that's driven a set of incentives. So what would it look like? What would a marketplace or creator economy company built on, hey, we're going to take half, let's say, and we're going to really earn it. Like you're going to love giving us that 50% because it's more than double the business you would have.